Now to this Fox News alert, House Dems plan to introduce a resolution condemning anti-Semitism after more controversial comments about Israel from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. The New York Post featuring the freshman Democrat on its cover with these words, "You give us a bad rep." Here's Sean Spicer, former White House press secretary, earlier on America's Newsroom.
If they really were taking a stance, they wouldn't just pass some meaningless, toothless resolution. They would show some action, and they would remove her from the Foreign Relations Committee, because you can't call it bad behavior and then allow it to continue. I also don't believe that she accurately represents the people of Minnesota, because my guess is that this is an issue that, by and large, her constituents don't share, and so it'll be really interesting to see how they respond.
Joining us now is Steve Scalise, House Minority Whip. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Happy Mardi Gras.
And to you as well. I like the tie. You've got the colors on there for sure. So what do you think of this move by House Democrats introducing this resolution to condemn anti-Semitism in the wake of these controversial remarks?
Well, the resolution only addresses a piece of the problem. She continues to display anti-Semitic remarks, comments. These are her beliefs. And so if they really are serious about addressing the problem, Nancy Pelosi has to remove her from the Foreign Affairs Committee. She's literally getting intelligence briefings on foreign policy of the United States, including our relationship with Israel, as she makes these kind of comments where she thinks any support of Israel is denouncing your own nationality. Where does that come from? It's a deep-rooted belief that shows the core of her convictions. And again, everybody's entitled to their own beliefs, but why would you have her on a committee that important, that sensitive to our foreign policy, if she has those kind of anti-Semitic beliefs, unless you're willing to tolerate it? And it shouldn't be tolerated. She ought to be removed immediately from the Foreign Affairs Committee.
She's only been in Congress since January. She's received widespread criticism, even from some or many in her own party. She seems to be doubling down on her stance here. And in her latest tweet, she seems to really just be saying that she's not mischaracterizing our relationship with Israel, but she's questioning it. To that, you say what?
Well, first of all, everybody's entitled to their own beliefs. But if you want to sit on the Foreign Affairs Committee and objectively look at and help set the foreign policy of the United States of America, you shouldn't have anti-Semitic beliefs. And in the way that she describes this relationship, the American-Israel relationship is an incredibly special bond. It's an incredibly bipartisan bond. Our nations have worked together, in many cases, in tandem on the same kind of foreign policy. When Iran wants to bomb Israel and destroy Israel, they also want to bomb and destroy America. So our foreign policy interests coincide a lot of times. But ultimately, if she has those kind of beliefs that expressing support for Israel is in some kind of way denouncing your American citizenship, I think she needs to get a deeper rooted understanding of the American and Israeli relationship to understand why our two countries are so interlinked on so many issues.
We continue to await this news conference in Alabama, Congressman. If I could just move on to one last topic with you, and that is Democrats' move to cast this wide net into further probes of the president. Now wide-ranging 81 people and organizations that will be the target from all of the president's walks of life. What is the move that you're witnessing here by Democrats? What are they trying to do?
Well, you're seeing full display the laying of the foundation to impeach the president by the Democrats. They don't want to get the facts. They first want to know what their end game is. Their end game is to impeach the president, whether or not the facts back it up. And so they've cast this wide net ridiculously. This is beyond a witch hunt. This was all supposed to be about collusion with Russia. There's been no collusion found between Russia and either presidential campaign. And so what they're doing is just trying to find any excuse to go and appease their base who wants the president impeached. They want to reverse the outcome of the election where the American people said Donald Trump will be our president. Donald Trump's doing a great job, by the way, of following through on his promises as president to get our economy back on track. They're not concerned about that. They want to shift back to socialism. And the only way they can do it is by impeaching the president, whether the facts back it up or not. And so far, from everything we've seen, the facts don't back it up. They're going to move there anyway.
Perhaps some agreement in an area or by someone you would not expect, and that's former Barack Obama chief strategist David Axelrod. He said this in a tweet: "Maybe I'm missing something. But the hazard of an omnibus document demand by House Judiciary versus discrete serial ones is that however legitimate the areas of inquiry, the wide-ranging nature of it is too easily plays into the witch hunt meme. From David Axelrod.
Well, and I'm glad that he said it, because it just shows you, typically you just let the facts, you follow the facts and let them lead where they go. They've already decided where they want to go, and the facts don't back it up, so they've got to keep reaching wider and wider to see if they find anything. What they're really trying to do is cover for the fact that they've got a socialist agenda right now. You look at the Green New Deal, which would literally eviscerate manufacturing jobs in America. And oh, by the way, they'd send them to countries like China and India, where they emit 5 times more carbon to make those same things. So you'd actually have more greenhouse gases under the new Green Deal. It's just a plan to destroy manufacturing in America. They want to abolish ICE. They've got this open border idea. It's a very radical leftist agenda, and they're trying to hide it by going after the president personally.
I want to end with the president's words here. He tweeted this out in response to the inquiry. Now that they realize the only collusion with Russia was done by crooked Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, Nadler, Schiff, and the Dem heads of the committees have gone stone cold crazy. 81 letters sent to innocent people to harass them. They won't get anything done for our country. Congressman Scalise, we'll leave it at that. Appreciate the tie. Laissez les bon temps brûler. Go Tigers. Happy Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras. Go Tigers.
Always good
and
to see
great
you,
being back with you.
Yes. Come back soon. Thank you.
You helped draft a resolution condemning anti-Semitism after some more controversial comments from the freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who is one of 2 Muslim women now in Congress. And just so our viewers understand the whole story, because it is a very significant one, here's Suzanne Malveaux.
I know how it feels to be hated because of my religious beliefs. I am proof that as Americans, we can embrace our differences.
Freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, sworn into office just 2 months ago, now facing an extraordinary public admonishment from her own party for several controversial comments about Israel's supporters and American politics.
Her remarks were reprehensible.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to take the floor with some other top Democrats with the resolution, which does not mention Omar by name, acknowledges the dangerous consequences of perpetuating anti-Semitic stereotypes, and rejects anti-Semitism as hateful expressions of intolerance. The most recent issue for many of her fellow Democrats, Omar's remark criticizing Israel at this town hall last week.
I want to talk about the political influence in this country that says it is okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country.
The ADL and some Jewish lawmakers strongly denouncing her comments as anti-Semitic. President Trump seizing on her past comments.
And Congressman Omar is terrible what she said, and I think she should either resign from Congress or she should certainly resign from the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
Omar fighting back, tweeting, "I am told every day that I am anti-American if I'm not pro-Israel. I find that to be problematic, and I am not alone. I just happen to be willing to speak up on it and open myself to attacks." It's not the first time Omar's comments have generated controversy. Last month, Pelosi called Omar's tweets deeply offensive after Omar described the impact of pro-Israel lobbyists in the U.S. as all about the Benjamins, baby. Omar later apologized, saying, "Anti-Semitism is real, and I am grateful for Jewish allies and colleagues who are educating me on the painful history of anti-Semitic tropes. This is why I unequivocally apologize."
And I just want to make sure everyone had the full story there, Chairman. So obviously, you know, you've written this resolution. You do not name her in the resolution by name, but it's clearly aimed at her, just like the resolution about Steve King and white supremacy was aimed at him, even though he wasn't mentioned. Congresswoman Omar has a pattern of similar comments. Do you think she is an anti-Semite?
I don't throw names around. I think the remarks she's made have been very troubling. I've spoken out very publicly and forcefully about it and saying that she should apologize. Look, you hope that people get elected to office and they grow. I would hope the same thing would happen to her, but I'm not going to sit silent as long as there are people who are yelling out anti-Semitic tropes or anti-anything tropes, by the way. I'm opposed to Islamophobia. I'm opposed to hatred of any group. So I certainly am not going to be quiet when there's anti-Semitism. I've fought against anti-Semitism my whole life.
And I want to ask you, when you mention Islamophobia, there is talk tonight that you may add language into this, so it isn't just about condemning anti-Semitism, it'd also be condemning Islamophobia or anti-Muslim bias. Are you going to add that wording in, or are you going to keep this specifically to anti-Semitism?
Well, first of all, it's not up to me. The leadership has been looking at it, and a whole bunch of people have put their imprint on it and have said what we think would happen. So I think a lot of things are still being decided as we're talking now.
And I know, when we talk about white supremacy, people understandably in some cases want to call something out as racist or white supremacist and not say that the person doing it is a racist, right? So they'll say that's a racist comment, but they don't want to say the person's a racist. And I just want to understand with Congresswoman Omar, it's clear what you're saying is that some of the things she has said have been clearly anti-Semitic, but you just don't want to level the charge anti-Semite at her.
Well, I'm hoping that she'll grow and she'll change. I'm hoping that some people change their beliefs. I'm hoping she'll change hers. I think what she said was wrong and hurtful. I think she should understand that. And I've been very vocal about it. And I feel very, again, strongly, certainly against anti-Semitism. But I think these tropes are not to be washed away. And the same thing, again, for anti-anything. We need to have discussions here in Washington, not on the basis of race or religion or national origin, but on what's best for the American people.
You're the chairman of a really important committee, right? Foreign Affairs. This is the center of a lot, and it's certainly the center of this discussion about Israel. At what point do you say to her, Congresswoman Omar, look, you're not on this committee anymore. You strip her of your seat. Are you close to that, or at that point?
No, I'm not close to it. First of all, it's not up to me. This is done by the leadership. I don't know that would do anything except exacerbate the situation even more. I'm looking to get rid of anti-Semitism, not looking to punish anybody. I think that it's very important that we keep our eye on the prize. And I think that whenever there is hatred being spewed, or again, racism, anti-Semitism, homophobia, Islamophobia, I think we have to speak out, and that's what I'm doing here.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Chairman.